So we're going to spend this time showing you some options you have when it comes to documenting your instructional minutes. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you. Okay, here we go. So I am in Canvas right now, and we wanted to share you some resources that we've put together. So I'm going to go all the way down here to the left. I'm going to go to the Commons. So click on Commons. And you'll notice the first thing that will pop up is something called Daily Instructional Minutes. Now, this is not always going to pop up on the top. As people start adding more materials, this is going to be bumped down. And so if you need to find it, all you have to do is type in Daily Instructional Minutes, and then it will come up. So just so you know, and if you're going to write anything down from this meeting, I would write this down somewhere. So write down Daily Instructional Minutes so you know what to look for when you go into the Commons, okay? So when you're in the Commons, you can view all of your resources before you bring them in. So all you have to do is click on the title. And then from here, you have something on the left called Preview. So it shows you all the elements inside of that piece in Commons. So in this one that we want you to see today, we want you to focus on pages because this is where we put all of our samples. So we have all the different types, and you can preview them here. You can click on them and you can look at them here before you ever bring them in. And we always get the question of, can I choose which ones to bring in? And unfortunately, when you bring something into your course, you bring in all of these elements here. So we do suggest when you bring them into your course, bring them into a course that doesn't have any kids. So for example, maybe your sandbox, or maybe some courses that you are practicing with. I would bring it into those courses so that you can get all the materials there, and then you can edit it and you can pull out the ones you want and copy them into the course with your students so that you don't bring everything over. But if you accidentally bring it into your course with your kids, it's not a big deal. You could always delete what you don't want, but we're just advising you now. It would just be easier this way, okay? So once you've gone ahead and perused through and see if you want it or if you need it, you would simply go to this blue box that says Import Download. So click on that. And then you would choose what course to put it into. So I'm going to put it into Castro Sandbox, and I'm just going to click on Import into Course. And then it says right here, you have successfully started the import. So sometimes it takes a little bit of time depending on how much you're bringing in from the Commons. Sometimes it takes a bit if there's a lot of material, but it should get there pretty quickly. So now all I have to do now is go into Courses and go into that course where I brought it into. So I brought that into Castro Sandbox, and I'll be able to find that in my pages and view all pages. And here they are. These are the ones that I brought in from Commons, okay? So then now I could actually go into them and I could edit them. So that's how it will appear for you. But just for the sake of this training, I'm gonna go back into another course that I prepared just because this helps with our flow today. So here's the course that I created just for today. It's called Daily Instructional Minutes, and we did discuss this earlier. Just wanted to remind you, this is the breakdown of our minutes. So based on your grade, here are the minutes that are expected of us, the minimum minutes that our kids should be working. So our synchronous time, so your Zoom time with your kids where you're giving direct instruction, this is the minimum amount of time that is expected per day. And then over here to the left, that is total instructional minutes. So that's synchronous and asynchronous put together, okay? And also we are, if we didn't, I think we did mention it earlier, but I'll just mention it again. We are being asked to post our assignments for the day at least 30 minutes before the start of your day. So some people said, does it have to be exactly 30 minutes? No, just at least. So if you're ready and you're posting it ahead of that, that's perfectly fine. Just make sure that within at least 30 minutes before the day that your lessons are already up and that your time is also there. And some of you might be wondering, what does this look like? What does it mean to document time for my assignments? So we have some samples, like I said, that are in pages. And when you go to pages, you're always going to see the front page first. Just click on View All Pages if you're wondering, and then here they are, okay? So I'm going to go through these one by one so that you see what they are. So you do not have to use these templates, okay? These are just options for you to give you ideas on how to document your instructional time. Some of you are already doing it in your schedules. Some of you are doing it in your assignments, and that is perfectly fine. But for those who still don't know where to start, this is a great place to start. So here's the first one. daily agenda for elementary. So this is very simple. It has your Zoom time, how long it will be, your assignment for, so when they're working on their own asynchronously, you have your ELA, your math, you have the time here, 45 minutes, and then additional activities like PE, or if you're going to do some ELD time, you would also make sure to document that here as well. So the important thing really is that you're showing how much time the kids are spending, so it shows that we're complying with the requirement, okay? So I'm gonna go to the next one. Daily Agenda Elementary Option 2. Okay, so this is very similar to the first one, but we did talk to some teachers who are teachers of the littles, for example, Kinder and TK, and they said, you know what, my kids can't sit for an hour. How am I supposed to show this? Well, this is a great idea right here, this sample that we took from some classes. So they said, okay, well, we're gonna start with phonics in the morning, take a little break, and then we're gonna do some ELA work, maybe story work, a little break, math, a break, and then ELD with the kids who need it. So if you total up these times all together and you remove those breaks, it really is an hour. You just made sure to give them breaks in between. Okay, so that's a great way to put that in here as well. Still an hour total. And then your language arts and your math and your additional activities again. Okay, here's another one. Daily Agenda Elementary 3. So this is also a great thing that we've seen teachers do. So this is an example where they met with the kids to teach ELA first on Zoom. And then after that, they let the kids go to do their asynchronous work for a few minutes. And then they came back together to teach math together. And then they let them go to work on math on their own. So that's another great idea we saw from other teachers. And then of course your other activities as well. Okay, so let's go back. This following one is Daily Agenda Upper, and this is mostly for our middle school and high school who are doing periods or blocks right now. So they simply say the time of their Zoom, 50 minutes at least, right? And then their asynchronous work. So if we do the math and they have 3 blocks or 3 periods a day, it's about 50 minutes per with their teacher, and then 30 minutes of asynchronous work. So this is just a great example that Ricardo put together for some asynchronous work he would do with his class right here. So the kids can actually just go straight and work on it. And it says right here, 30 minutes. So again, recording that time is important. So let me go to the next one. Single lesson. All right, so don't get overwhelmed. I know you might be thinking, do I have to do this for every single lesson? But we did see this with some teachers and we wanted to share it with you as a resource. So if you want to document your time per lesson, you can do that. You can see right here, it says time on task, about 30 minutes to focus on this task. It also has learning goals, what standards you'll be hitting, some things that they're gonna do in the lesson. This is also great. So don't feel that you have to do this, but we have seen some teachers do their daily agenda and their weekly agenda and then link to these actual lesson overviews. So again, it is here for you as a resource. I'm going to go to view all pages. So let's move on. Weekly agenda elementary. So some of us prefer to see it by the week. So here is one right here. So you have your days, and then you have the times that you'll be on Zoom. And then down here, we just put this together quickly. You would actually, in these sections for language arts, you would actually put what you're working on. You're not just going to say language arts, because then that means general for every day. The kids and families don't really know what's expected when they work asynchronously or without you. So just make sure to maybe put what they're working on or put where to go so that they know what they're going to be working on. Same thing with Think Central. So we won't copy and paste every single day. We'll actually be putting what they do, but we still have the total minutes right here. So 45 minutes, and your other activities. Okay, so that's just a weekly view of the same thing that we saw earlier. And here's weekly agenda for upper, very similar. And Ricardo put in as the teacher what he would assign every day. So this is great for kids and for parents to see, okay, we're gonna Zoom at this time. And here is the work that you need to work on every single day for this week. And it has about how long that should take, okay? And then this next one is called Weekly with Bullets Upper. And we called it that because of all the bullets. Okay, so this is just a different view of pretty much the same thing, but we saw this and thought, wow, this is a really great way to put it together. So how much time are you gonna spend in time? Oh, I'm sorry. How much time are you going to be with your kids on Zoom? It has it right here. It has the assignment that's due today, which is a great reminder for our kids. And it has the work that they're going to be working on today when they are not with you. And it also has that time. Excuse me. So it has your synchronous time and then your asynchronous time, and it has it for the whole week. Okay, so this is, again, another great resource. So while we're in here, let's pretend that this is your course where you brought these into, and you're looking at it and you say, oh, you know what? Out of all those million things you shared with me, this is the one I want to use. Okay, so if that's the case, this is now yours. So don't feel afraid to make changes, because it's only going to make changes for you. So now all you have to do, whichever one you choose, you're going to click on edit. And then, oh, this window's so tiny. If you didn't know, over here on the right, you can stretch that open. And then from here, you can now make adjustments to the assignment. So you could change the actual name of the assignment. You can put what you're covering in Zoom. It's entirely up to you. You can make any changes you want. You can see I'm making changes right now. I'm gonna erase because that's not what I need. So you would make the changes you want, and don't forget to hit save, because I've done that so many times. So hit save. And then now, if this is what you like, perfect. So we're going to go back to pages. And this is the one that I was editing, because this is the one I want to push to my real class. I don't want all of these in my real class, because they're all different options of the same thing, really. But this is the one I want. This is the one I edited. And here's how you're going to put it in your real class. You're going to go all the way to the side. You're going to click on these three dots. And you're going to copy to, and you're going to copy this to your actual class. So I'm going to click on that, and then right here, I don't have a class with real students, but if you do, which you do, you're going to click on this little arrow, and it's going to bring down your classes with real students, and you're going to click on it, and then you're going to click copy, and then so now you're going to go into your real class with students, and then you're going to find this in your pages section. It will copy it into that section. Okay, in case you didn't know. I'm sorry I couldn't take you through that. So I hope that was helpful for you, and I hope these templates will be helpful to get you started. If you have any questions, please let us know. We are here to help you. And yes, that's all. Thank you.
So now that we have different options to keep tabs of our time, and we have ideas on how we can document that time, we are going to show you 3 places where you can find the data that is going to back up all of those times documentation that you have. So the first one that we are going to look at is ClassLink, and we're going to look where the analytics for ClassLinks is, and also we're going to see what you can do with it. We're also going to look at new analytics on Canvas and some of the features of the new analytics. And finally, we are going to look at some reports under our Zoom accounts. So for ClassLink, we want all of our students to access all of our curricular sites, like Think Central or McGraw-Hill or Pearson, which is now called Savas. We also wanted to access maybe our Sora, our digital library, right through here, because when they do that, it creates data for us that we can actually see to figure out how much time they're spending on each of the sites they're visiting, including Canvas, actually. So just to give you a quick overview, the first thing that I want you to see is at the bottom right here, you have a place where it says My Analytics. So you can get to the analytics for your own usage of ClassLink by clicking on this button. You can also get there by going to the hamburger on top or the 3 lines and clicking on it. You also have the option to go to My Analytics. So when I go there, it's going to give you some data. It's going to give you how many logins you had today, this week, and so on and so on. You also have the ability to change it to just today or maybe the last 30 days. We're gonna leave it just for the last 7 days. And then here you can see that data. You can also see which browser you're using. And this might be helpful when you're trying to help a student and you're looking at their data and you notice that maybe they're using Safari. That's going to tell you that they might be using a mobile device such as an iPad or maybe a Mac. And then it will give you some ideas of what the different reasons why they can't get into ClassLink or they can't get into Canvas might be. So being able to see which browser they're using will give you pretty good ideas about the problems that kids might be encountering. But this is for your own account. So this teacher is using, as you can see, they're using Explorer or Edge. They're using Chrome, and they've also used Safari. Okay. You can also look at the app summary, and you can see what type of apps are being used. So Zoom for Teachers, Canvas, the date and the times, and other apps in here, Pearson, right? Land School, if you saw that, and some other ones in here too. And so that gives you a pretty good idea. And finally, just information about who you are inside of ClassLink. So that's the first thing that we want you to see, the analytics for your own account. But also, by going to the bottom next to your analytics, you have a place called Teacher Console. For our students, this is called My Backpack, but for you, it's going to be called Teacher Console. Okay, and when you click on it, it's going to take you inside of your classes. Now, this particular teacher only teaches one class. For some of us that teach secondary, you might have 6 periods over here. And what I want you to see is that this teacher has added some apps to their backpack. You don't have to add apps in order for ClassLink to still keep analytics inside of backpack, okay? So even if the kids are going to Think Central or Connect Ed or Savas outside of the backpack, you will still be able to get those analytics. So I'm going to click on this particular class. And the first thing that I want you to see is under students, this teacher has all of their students listed. And to the right, you have that same data that you could see for your own account. So if I click on this, it's going to have that data for that particular student, and it's going to show you the same thing. So when I go down, I can see that this kid has only been using Edge, okay? But maybe I see a student that is having trouble logging in, and the reason could be because, again, they're using the wrong browser or something that is not working for them, okay? So great place to have some type of data. You can also see the logins, okay? So in here, I can switch it to just see previous week when we started school on Wednesday, and I can see when my kids were logging in and when they did not log in. So you can see if they were active in ClassLink. And if I click on something, it actually doesn't give you anything, but if I click on times in the app, it will give you something. So over here, Kelsey was on Wednesday for 8 hours, and Kelsey loves Starfall, and she was in there for 8 hours and 31 minutes, and she visited Canvas for 23 minutes, okay? So let's look at another student that was in here, Max. Max went in there and was there for 2 hours, okay? So it just gives you an idea of what the students are doing. So I'm going to go ahead and give you some time for you to play with it. I'll give you 2 minutes, and you can kind of get an idea of where you are and how you can get to this data. So again, you have a couple of options. You can go through the Teacher Console for your students and through My Analytics for your own data. So let's go ahead and take about 2 minutes. So hopefully that gave you some time to explore our analytics and ClassLink. The second place where you can find data is going to be under new analytics in your courses inside of Canvas. So I'm going to go into a course, and when you go in, you will notice that we have pushed the new analytics tab to every course, and you can access it by just going all the way to the right, and then there is the tab for new analytics. So I'm going to click on it, and today we're just going to get a very brief introduction to what analytics are. We could spend hours in here, but we're going to spend just some time to see the main points. So by the end of today, we should know what it is and how we can use it to be impactful. Okay, so by default, it goes to course grade. I like to function at a weekly online activity. Okay, so this is it right here. And you will notice that a dashboard opens up. You can have data as a shapes, or you can have a table. I don't like the table. I like the shapes because it's interactive. So I'm going to switch it back to the shapes. Okay. And then in here, you will notice that it's interactive. I can click and point, and it will take me to some type of data. Okay. So what I want you to see when we look at this type of analytics, the weekly online analytics, I want you to think about it from two different levels. At the macro level, the macro level, when we're looking about what info can I get to focus on the course itself as a whole. What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? But also at the micro level, how do I impact that particular student, or that maybe that group of students that is struggling with my Canvas course? How do I change things? Okay, so think about it at the macro level and the micro level. Okay, so just to see that, you notice that you have two different types of data here. Your average page views, which basically just tell you what the kids are coming to see divided by week. So this is between July and August 9, and you have the weeks right here. And if I click somewhere, it's going to tell me that for this particular week on my page views, one student view and two didn't view. Okay, and we'll talk about how we can email those kids that didn't view in a second. But I can see it here. Liz didn't view anything or participated. Ricardo was all over the place, and he was always on Canvas participating, and Robert did not view anything. So we're gonna go back, so just to give you an idea, okay? Over here, we have average participation. The difference between the two is that average participation has to do with any time a student interacts with a discussion post, an assignment, submission, or a quiz. Anything related to discussions, assignments, or quizzes is going to trigger some kind of data under average participation. So let's kind of look at it. So I'm looking at the section right now, all of my sections, this particular section, but I can also add up to 2 students. So let me add Ricardo in here, and let me add Robert. Actually, I want to add Robert and Liz. Let me switch this around, okay? Okay, and now that you're here, I want you to see how, for the most part, this is what the course looks like. And then I want you to see the list has been engaging, okay? But if you notice Robert stayed flat over here, okay? So during this week, I want to see what's going on with Robert. I can click on it, and it's going to tell me that Robert did not participate at all, okay? So notice how he didn't view or participate. So I can click on Robert, and I can say, hey, Robert, one student, just that person that didn't participate. You can also select by people that participated, people that didn't view, or people that view, and I can say, hey, what's going on? I can say, hey, Robert, I noticed you didn't engage or didn't participate this week. Is anything wrong? Can I help you? And I can send that email to that student, and they can probably engage with me, okay? So that's kind of a great tool to have. On the bottom, you can see the students and the page views and the participation too. And also one more thing that I want you to see. You can go to the tab for students, and Liz is doing really well. So I'm just not gonna worry about her right now. But let's see all of our students, just so you see. Ricardo's not doing very well. So I'm going to click on him, and you're gonna notice that Ricardo got a 0 on this assignment, and then he went up and got a 50%. And you can see your assignments down here, and also your quizzes. And I can kind of see what's going on, and again, be able to click on it, see what he got, and be able to communicate with that kid and add instant feedback right through here, okay? I can see the weekly online activity for Ricardo, and I can also see how much we communicated. So I sent a message and he's replied once. And based on what I see on his performance in my class, I don't think a message is enough. So I should be on top of this kid, letting them know what's going on and trying to support if they need support. Okay? And then finally, course grades. We just see the grades for the class. And again, you can add up to 2 students to be able to see how their grades compare to the course average. So this is just a really quick overview of the new analytics. I went in through home, right? And then to the right, new analytics. So I'm going to do the same thing and give you about 2 minutes to play with it, okay? Okay, so hopefully those 2 minutes gave you time to look at the new analytics. And the last thing we want to touch is on how to run reports under your Zoom account. So if you are in ClassLink, you want to scroll all the way down. You want to go to your Zoom account. Mine's all the way to the bottom. And when you get in there, you will see that at the bottom, well, the first thing you want to see is make sure that you have a licensed account so you can run this report, okay? So let's just look at, I have a licensed account. Come to the bottom and under reports, you have the ability to see usage, okay? So if I go to usage, I can change the range of dates. So let's go to last Wednesday when school started and let's search. And it's gonna show you all of the Zoom meetings that you've hosted. And also, if you scroll to the right, it will show you how long the minutes were, how long your meetings were. And if you click on the blue number, you can see who was in the meeting and how long they were there, okay? So for instance, this particular teacher was there for 71 minutes. So you'll see a list of your students, okay? Just so you know, some teachers have wondered why they see a different email. Our students are attending our Zoom meetings as attendees. They do not have a Zoom account. So if a parent has a Zoom account or they were using the Zoom, it's going to use that email. We just want to make sure that we tell our kids that if they have the wrong name during the meeting, they can change their name to reflect their actual name. So when you run these reports, they're actually accurate. You have the option to export the reports to keep a file of them. Okay, so these are 3 ways in which you can look at the data through our analytics on ClassLink, through the new analytics on Canvas, and finally through our reports on Zoom. If you have any questions, please contact any of your tech tools. Have a great day.